for one of my clients that he wants
All
to. Okay,
right.
all right. Are we there?
Yes, we are.
Dang, it's always fascinating, that I look myself out. But here we are. Hello. And yes, I also pressed the record button. Welcome to the Eric and Liz show. Hello, Liz.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. It's such a beautiful day outside. I can't even complain, you know, can't complain
Well,
at
that's
all.
great. You know, I have to share something with our viewers, something I didn't know um, existed. But however, long story short, I got my shot yesterday. Finally, the Pfizer vaccine one. Um, so, um, obviously, I can have it, but I tried to book, through hospital, through pharmacies, and oh my gosh, and
Mhm.
there's just no appointments. I have no idea what people do if they get up at midnight, to check those websites. And I came across these free walk-up clinics.
Oh my goodness.
You really go. In this case, I went to a YMCA, 5 minutes from my house, and you. I mean, the first day, I have to say, I went there day before yesterday,
Mhm.
and the guy in front of me walks in, and they look at me and say, "Sorry, last dose just went."
Oh no.
Kind of late, it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I was like, "Oh, dang, my luck." So anyhow,
Oh
so
my goodness.
next day, go back around 10:30 ish. It's true, I stood about 1 hour in line. Um, you just fill out basically a
Mhm.
profile, and then you get your shot, and it's super uncomplicated. I
All
mean, the
right.
problem is you have to wait, but for everybody who is eligible now, just look if there's a walk in clinic, close to your house or something like that, and just stay in line and get that shot.
Mhm.
Um, Personally, for it hurt less than a flu shot, but
Oh
that
my
was my
goodness.
experience. Less than a flu shot. Then this morning when I woke up, it was a little sore, but I think I really
Mhm.
slept, and
Okay.
and that was it.
All right. Did they make you wait for like a few minutes after they gave you the shot?
15 minutes, yeah. You have to
15
sit down
minutes?
15 minutes, so you just put your timer on,
Okay.
and you do.
Okay. So that is it at all the YMCA's, just in case someone's
No, no, no,
listening
no,
and
no,
they.
no. That was just happened to be that particular location
Oh, okay.
that is
Okay.
located at a YMCA.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. And, you got your shot. That's awesome. Yeah.
And but I know you wanted to mention something because this is a historic week.
Yes, it is. It is. George Floyd's case has begun, and I'm just praying for the best, for the family, for our nation,
Yeah.
because this is going to set precedents to let you know that there are consequences
Oh yeah.
for your
Yeah, yeah.
actions,
So
and that people sat and watched, this happen unfold on television, and just when I first saw it, I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought it was, I didn't know that it was real.
yeah.
It's just, but I'm so glad everything is starting. And, you know, I believe that it's going to come out, the right way. Definitely.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
I just want
Justice will prevail.
to
Mm.
see because our guest Hannah was very short on my screen and is gone. So maybe you just want to shoot her a little text, to come back into the waiting room.
Okay.
There she is.
Right. Here is our beautiful guest.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I know.
Hi.
Pretty in the
Hi,
shade.
Hannah.
Hi,
Hello,
can you guys
Anna.
hear me okay?
We can hear you and we can see you and all that good stuff. You look
Yay.
beautiful.
Okay, let me just turn the volume up just a little bit.
Okay. You look more and more like your mom.
Oh my goodness, what?
I know
Wait, let me-
everybody tells you that.
Everybody thinks that we're twins. I'm like, yeah, that's my younger sister.
Right.
Wait, let me see if I could do this really quick.
I like that. That's funny.
Oh wait, no, that background looks weird. Never mind.
Oh, wow. You're at the bookstore, Hannah?
I know, Barnes and Noble.
Now she is.
Wait,
That's
sorry, let me
way to go, girl. Way to go.
way to go. Okay, let me
Mhm.
just grab this really quick. Where is this?
Well, after all, you're a book author, so you have to promote what you're doing.
Ooh, I love that.
There
That's
you go.
awesome. That's nice.
Is that nice, or should I do a photo of my dad? I don't know.
You can switch it up. That's beautiful for right now. That's awesome.
Yes. Thanks for having me, you guys, Eric and Liz.
Well, hey, thanks for coming.
Well,
And let me
thank
do
you.
the honors of introducing our guest today. We have Hannah Hoya, and she is a new author and also a lifestyle model. And I've known her since 2015. And her dad was a GBS survivor. So I kind of want to lay the groundwork a little bit. So the way we met is it was actually at a patient meeting, and her mom was there, and she kind of had to leave early. And I was asking, like, why are you leaving early? And she said,
Sorry, Liz, if I interrupt you. I know that is super rude, but you know what is GBS?
I'm getting ready to say it. Guillain-Barré syndrome is a neurological disease of the nervous system. That's what GBS is, where your nerves attack its own, system. So anyway, so her dad actually had GBS. He had chronic GBS, correct?
He did, yeah. He had
Yeah, he
GBS.
had chronic GBS. Yes.
Yeah. And then he also had CIDP as well.
Yes, CIDP. And Eric, for the life of me, I cannot pronounce CIDP. It's really tough. Can you pronounce it, Hannah?
You know what? I'm on the same page with you, so I'm going to try. So I believe it's chronic idiopathic polyneuropathy.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. That's why they give them the names.
It's so long. It's so tough to say. But yeah, CIDP.
Right. So GBS and CIDP is not hereditary and it's not contagious. It's 2 in 100,000 people will get it. And so anyway, her mom was at a meeting and she said that she had to leave early.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really, concerned, and she shared her story with me. And I told her the next week I was getting ready to do a fashion show, because I do a show every year, every May, to raise money and bring awareness to Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a neurological disease of the nervous system. Mm-hmm. So she told me all about it. And she said, I have a daughter that is a model. So that's how we met. And I invited her to come to the show the next month, and they actually bought a whole table, and it was really awesome. And the fact that I am a Guillain-Barré syndrome survivor, I was really, intrigued with their story. He had it for such a long time, and our stories were almost alike. I was going to school, and I know that her dad was, he was going to be a doctor. Mm-hmm. So with all that said, I know I kind of jumped around a little bit. Hannah, could you give us a little bit background of your dad, Dr. Florendo Hoya?
Yeah, I think you did a great job. You nailed everything. But just to add on to what Liz said, Yes. So my dad was diagnosed with GBS and CIDP for 27 years. So I was 20. I was born into a dad who was paralyzed. He was a physician. He was one of the rare ones who got such a severe case of GBS to where it attacked his nerves, neck down, which caused him to be paralyzed. And it was crazy though, because there were so many times throughout my dad's journey where the chances of him ever surviving or ever walking or ever really living life was so slim. But my dad defeated the odds for 27 years. He actually spent the last remaining 6 years of his life on a life ventilator, living at a nursing facility. So yeah, my dad had such a severe case of GBS. But it really allowed my dad to not base his strength off his physical needs, but really just learning to be resilient through his faith and his family. So thank you, Liz, for everything that you've done for our family. You've been such a big support to us, and having your fashion show once a year, which I miss, brought so much hope to a lot of survivors. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And what I would like to say also, when I met Hannah and her family, that's literally how I got the idea to create the Robert and Estelle Benson Award. He was actually the first person to receive the award that I created for the foundation for the San Diego chapter. And it meant a lot to me to honor your dad. So
yeah, what was that? Was that in 2016?
2015.
2015, yeah. Yeah, that was such an incredible evening. What happened?
Hold on.
I believe we have some photos.
Oh,
and somehow, of course,
did it get?
There we go. Hold on. Because here actually, there we are.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. Let me see. Sorry, my phone got a little glitchy. Let me see.
That's okay. That seems to be a picture of you as a baby.
Oh, let me see, actually. Okay. Oh, yes. That is a photo of my dad and myself. Wow. I was a little baby. Yeah, born into that was the only vision I ever had of my dad in a wheelchair. So all I ever knew my dad was to be in a wheelchair. So yeah, that photo, it really means a lot, because that to me was normal. That was normalcy in a father, having a dad who was paralyzed. So that's all I ever knew him to be.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, such a cute photo.
Yeah.
Let me. There we go. And this is the award, I guess, Liz.
It hasn't popped up yet.
Oh, you can't see it?
No.
Well, let me see. My screen sharing is paused. That's interesting.
So while he's looking for the photo, Hannah, had you ever thought about your family thinking that if your dad had gotten diagnosed a little bit earlier, that things would have been a little different? Did that ever come to your mind?
Oh, you mean if he was never diagnosed with his disease?
No, if he had got diagnosed a little bit earlier, because I know that wasn't he misdiagnosed a couple times also?
Yeah, that actually has come across we've thought about that. We were always wondering if maybe we caught it earlier, or maybe if we saw a different type of specialist, or because I know technology now is so much more advanced than it was then. So yeah, there's come across a lot of times where we kind of just took a step back and we're like, man, I wonder if so-and-so saw him earlier, or if maybe he got the disease later on. Technology could have helped him. Yeah, because we hear so many stories of people, like for yourself, just battling it and surviving it, and being able to walk again and breathe on your own. So yeah, there were definitely a lot of times where we thought that, but then again, we would have never been able to meet the families that we've gotten to meet. Because if you can go down it was so easy to get so caught up in that mindset. Like, oh my goodness, like if only this or if only that, you know, but then we have to stop ourselves and like recognize like, no, we would have never had the opportunities to meet so many families at the hospitals or nursing homes that he was living at if it hadn't been so severe. So yeah, it definitely did cross our minds for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you know, since we, you know, it happens like you said, you know, you only saw your dad basically in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And then it seems there were moments where he was getting better, then he would be getting worse again and better and worse. And unfortunately, especially towards the end of his life, these patterns of having good days, bad days increased at a staggering pace. And you, I mean, how did you emotionally? I know that you have a very spiritual way of looking at it, but I'm especially interested, you know, how did it emotionally impact you and your family?
Gosh, yeah, that
Great
was
question.
it's crazy to look back now. Like, so since my dad's been gone for, he passed away on June 13th, 2018. So that's about almost 3 years now. And I finally can be able to like look back and recognize like how, like the same question you asked, Eric, like how in the world did we emotionally be able to handle all of that for 27 years? Like that doesn't sound like that's insane. But you know what I can say that we as a family, especially my dad, had so much hope. And it was just the hope knowing that every single day he was here could have been his last. Like we had no idea when he was going to take his last breath.
Right.
So we as a family had such a solid foundation of hope. We knew that every day could have been his last. So we took advantage of every single second we had with each other. We lived it as if it was going to be the last. We laughed as much as possible. We joked with each other as much as possible. And we really had so much humor. Like we would actually, the doctors would be like, are you guys okay? Like they would come in with the worst test results. Like he has pneumonia on both lungs. And we would just kind of be like, oh, well, he's an Iron Man. He'll get through it. And just laugh and order pizza. So the doctors were like, no, this is really serious. So it was just having that humor and just keeping the foundation of hope to know that we're not given, like we don't know when we're going to take that last breath. So we just, as a family, just kept reminding each other, like every day is a gift. Like they say, being in the present is a present in itself because it's such a gift to be here. So I would say, Eric, just having solid hope and humor is how we definitely survived 27 years, and not just survive, but I would say thrive. Like we were able to fully thrive through that. And it was just such a roller coaster of emotions. But looking back, it definitely built so much character and so much resilience. And I used to always tell my dad that I'm like, you know, Dad, you never had to teach me what it was like to be strong or what courage meant, because he showed me. And I really think at the end of the day, that's what mattered the most to me as a daughter, to see a dad showing me by his actions what it meant to be so courageous when everything else was just really falling apart. So yeah, hope and humor, you got to have it nowadays.
Right. That's for sure. And I admire your whole entire family because, like I said, I got a chance to meet, you know, all of you. And your dad, he just showed so much strength, you know, as a survivor, you know, and treatments didn't come out until like later. So that's when he started getting treatments, you know, years later, not like right away.
Yeah. And then his final years, I would say, were the toughest for all of us, really, because he would have to get infusions for hours. And I think it was just having to kind of just sit there. And there were definitely moments where we were just kind of, we can have so much hope and you can have so much humor, but then you have your down days, your moments where you're just like, why, like for how much longer? And I would say the final years that he was here were the toughest because we just didn't know what direction he was going to go. We didn't know if he was ever going to be able to walk again, or if this was going to be his quality of life. So that's what I'd say for me was my lowest and even darkest moments, was just kind of questioning God as to why is this happening, or, you know, spending his final days at a nursing home or a hospital. But yeah, just really not having to have the facts, I would say, and just having that solid faith. And we may not even know the answers on this side of eternity. Like, I may not ever know why certain things had to happen the way they did until I get to heaven. So I think we as a family just kind of put the facts and the questions to the side and just really, really just kept our faith solid in that.
So what was it actually, I'm with Eric on that.
So-
What was it actually like kind of growing up when your friends would come over? Did they all understand what you were going through with your dad?
No, now it's like, it's funny. I talk about that in the book because we have a ramp in our van, and we actually still have the van. And I thought that was so normal to have a van with a ramp. Like, to me, that was like normal. Like, I would play on that. I would like kick my soccer ball on the ramp, but every time, and I would even pull out the ramp for my dad's wheelchair to go in. So no, my friends would give me the weirdest look. So we would go pick them up. They would be like, what is this? So we would go pick them up. And then I'd be like, hold on, guys, just give me like 5 seconds. And I would like jump out. I was like 8 years old. And I would like bend over, pull out the ramp. And their faces were just like kind of like just like shocked. Or especially the friends who didn't know that my dad was paralyzed. They would kind of like didn't really know what to say. So they were and that was just the normal thing for me. And I was so young. I had no idea to them what that meant. Like, I had no idea. I thought everybody knew having a dad who was paralyzed was normal, but yeah, it was definitely different for my friends to see that. So people growing up would always say, oh yeah, Hannah with a dad who's sick is a common thing a lot of people would say. So that was really what was like second nature to me, was just hearing people say, Hannah with a sick dad, Hannah with a sick dad, or how's your dad? Or those were a lot of the questions that were asked growing up. But I mean, I had so much fun. I mean, I thought it was just a roller coaster sitting on his electric wheelchair the whole time, laughing about it. And people were like, what is this child doing? But yeah, it was definitely different for all my friends, really.
So, I mean, I can abstract it, you know, because that was your normal.
Yeah.
However, when did the reality of it, you know, kind of kicked in, where I say, oh, I'm growing up in the family which is not at all like other families. Was there, you know, in the instant of a certain desperation, not feeling like I'm not fitting in, or was it different?
Yeah, no, there were quite a few times growing up where I kind of was kind of taken back, or kind of, I mean, I guess I would say I would compare at times to, for example, the father-daughter dance. I would say that was something that kind of hit me differently. And that's when I started to recognize the difference, and how different and how unique our situation was. So yeah, I believe that was in middle school for the father-daughter dance. And I remember not having the chance to do that. And that I was young. I was about 14, or I would say maybe 12. And I would say that was the first time I kind of felt different. Something was different. My emotions were kind of, I guess, starting to feel sad. And I just didn't know how to express that. So yeah, I would say around that time, hearing the father-daughter dance be thrown around. And then I would definitely say when I turned 21, so that peak season of, you know, your independence, and you're able to go out and, you know, travel and figure out yourself and do 21-year-old things. But for me, being 21, 22, 23, like the peak age, I spent at the hospitals, at the nursing homes, or at the urgent cares on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, where my friends were going to clubs and bars doing 21-year-old things. But for me, it was just spending the countdown at the hospital. So that was when kind of sadness, deep sadness started really hitting me. And I was really able to see the difference in the lifestyles and what it was like having a dad who was physically healthy, having to not worry about, oh, is my dad okay? Or having that guilt, even if you were to leave to go out with friends, like having that guilt, just saying, oh no, I have to go back to the hospital. He's there. So that's when things really started hitting me. And that's when I kind of really saw the major difference and how not normal it was to have a dad who was paralyzed. So, yeah.
Right. So did you find
just spoke of, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm holding my phone. Okay.
ahead.
because you were, what was very interesting to me right now is you thought like feeling a certain guilt.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I mean, now that I look back and I'm able to reflect how I actually felt, I would say it kind of really hindered a lot of my maturity and my growth because I always had that hidden guilt, a subconscious guilt. So whenever I wanted to do something for myself, if I ever wanted to, go out with friends to go to even somewhere local like Los Angeles or just travel, I always had that like small guilt in me. I always had something that was always holding me back. And it wasn't even like my mom or dad complaining about you're not here enough. None of that. It was just myself having that guilt. Like, no, I can't. Like, what if I get a phone call and saying your dad's sick, you have to be here. Right. Or your dad got pneumonia again, you have to be here. So I always had that little mustard seed guilt inside my heart. So I didn't really see it then, but now, I mean, I can definitely clearly see how much of that played such a big part of my life.
So you were, if I may say, a very close-knit family because, just in my opinion or experience, with something like that happen, usually you are very, very close.
Yeah, so my family, we were extremely close. We have such a strong support when it comes to family. I have an older brother. We're 12 years apart. My aunts, they all live here in San Diego. And my cousins, they were always there for our family. That was one thing that really helped us go through this 27 years was having such a solid family support. And they would always bring food for us at the nursing home. They would always be with us at the urgent care. So it really made such a big difference having such a solid support of family.
Right. That's definitely what a survivor, needs is support and to know that they are supported. Yeah. So I have another question for you pertaining your book, Never Goodbye. Isn't it beautiful? I love everything about your book.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So did you actually find it therapeutic writing this book?
Yes, I did. And actually, I don't know if you can see on my screen, my background. So that image of me, the image of the hands is actually the image of my dad and I holding each other's hands the last day before he passed.
Okay.
So it meant a lot to me writing this book. So when my dad passed in 2018, so 2018 to 2019 was a mess emotionally. Like that's when like the grief really, really hit me. I mean, I was just going through a roller coaster of emotions. I would say just the shock of it all, because with my dad, he always came out of it. So I think I mentioned earlier, there was a time where the doctor came in and said that he had pneumonia on both lungs. And the chances of him ever getting out of that was so slim. But then he got out of it. So he always got out of everything. So to me, I always called him my Iron Man because to me, that's what he was. He was always someone who came out of it, a superhero in my eyes. So I struggled a lot with him passing because it was just like, no, like, there's no way he can't not come out of it. Like, so it was really just the shock. So the first couple months after my dad passed, I was just kind of in shock and in denial. which then I learned with grief is so normal to have shock and denial. You can't process it. So that first year I cried every day. I cried every day. I cried every day. And when I turned 29, it was honestly like a light switch. I turned 29 October 22nd, 2019. And it was as if God kind of just like, I felt like God started to use my pain to like fuel me. Like he brought the pain started to become like fuel. There was something in me that just wanted to, like, it wasn't like as if I stopped crying, but there was something internally where the resilience just kind of switched on. The light just turned on. And I was like, you know what? I've been journaling since I was 8 years old. And I actually have a journal entry in my book from when I was 8 years old of me drawing a stick figure of my dad at the hospital. So I guess that was my way of processing my emotions at 8 years old. But I always journal, I always write, but writing a book has never been in my agenda. I never went to school to be an author, never thought I would write a book. I didn't even know the difference between fiction or nonfiction. I'm like, I don't know how to write a book. No, but when I turned 29, I would say that I kind of was like, you know what? I've been journaling every day. I'm gonna use all my journal entries. I started gathering all my journal entries, just gathered all my journal entries. And I thought to myself, if I'm feeling so alone, or if I'm feeling so sad that I lost my dad like this, or just shock and grief and denial, like, I wonder how many other people out there feel like this. And that was my light switch, to know that there is somebody else out there who doesn't know how to handle grief with hope. So like, it was a light switch. I grabbed all my journal entries and I just started combining everything that I saw that I feel like for me helped me with my grief. And I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. And I just kind of like brought it all together. And I was like, it really did, Liz, help me so much with healing, because I mean, there were times where I just was just staring at my wall and not even knowing like how to finish this book. Like, but then there were times where the healing, just like, that's part of healing. It's just having your moments to just allow yourself to just be sad. And that's what this book did. And writing it helped me to be so real. And I actually said that in my book, in order to heal, you have to be real, because that's how you heal. It's just acknowledging your pain and recognizing that this is a tough, hard season that I'm in. And it's okay to just want to stare at a wall for a couple hours and just process everything.
Right, exactly. Because you never know how grief is going to hit you. And what I also wanted to mention was the fact that your family was your family was the first family to actually do the walk and roll here in San Diego. And you guys set the date around your dad's birthday. And I thought that was awesome. He was able to attend, and it was so very special. And he got to meet other survivors, and a lot of information and a lot of wonderful things came from that walk. I mean, I would never be able to describe the way I felt when I saw all those people there. And, you know, a lot of them, they had questions, and, you know, we were all doing the best we could to answer questions, you know, because it is a rare disease, and a whole lot better with information and resources. You know, but a lot of things, you know, transpired that day. Like I said, it was, you know, your dad's birthday, and a lot of connections were made with other patients, you know, which I thought it was really, really good. And the facility that your dad was at, all of them attended, I believe. A lot of them.
Yeah, they all made T-shirts. The RTs. The managers, they all came out and wore T-shirts. It was such, it was, that day was just probably one of the best moments of my life. I think, just like what you said, Liz, like just seeing the families there, traveling. There was even a family from Las Vegas that came.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that day was, it was just like, I think what was so special about that, of course, having my dad there and see it, but I think it was the community. everyone coming together, and just allowing people to feel like they're not alone, I think was really what meant so much to everybody there. And even for myself, to see some daughters who had parents who had GBS, and to be able to relate to them, to say, like, I know, I get it, you know, like, you know, even there was no words needed to be exchanged. It was just a hug or a high five, and just seeing all of them, it was just, we get it. We all get it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you know, people need to know about this disease, because you can be misdiagnosed, go back and forth to the hospital. It mimics a stroke. And so, you know, a lot of people need to be aware of the symptoms, you know, when you go into the emergency room, because sometimes you know, if they send you home again for the last time, you may slip into a coma. I hate to sound like that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, they can send you home so many times thinking, you know, well, we don't want to do a, you know, a spinal, or, you know, because it's kind of drastic, but a lot of times they're getting a whole lot better at, you know, when you go to the ER and when you have these different symptoms, you know, they're nailing it right on the head nowadays. You know, I've been hearing less and less about them sending you home. They're, you know, weighing all their options as to, you know, could it be GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome, or CIDP, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're very right. Technology now, I've noticed, I hear a lot of stories of GBS and CIDP patients fully recovering and going home. Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. Very good.
Exactly.
I'm going to change my background now.
You have another question, Eric? I know you do.
Well, it's less of a question. It's more of an observation, really.
Okay.
Because it's not, you know, yes, here we happen to speak of a GBS case, but many other illnesses, you know, will take a similar toll on the family. Because thinking of that Hannah has gone through 27 years, you know, having a parent, you know, living with a disease with so, how should I say, oh, I don't want to say diminished, because that would be the total opposite of what you're trying to say, Hannah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No. Very severe. Very severe.
I think, you know, what I want to say. You know, it's just, you know, it's your normal. It's not normal.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then, you know, I'll be lying if I said that we were always happy. We were always hopeful. But I think you asked me earlier if there was any moments in my life. I forgot to mention also, there was another moment where I kind of was just so discouraged with my dad's situation. I met a girl who was about a few years older than me, or she may have been younger than me, but yeah, she had a very severe case of GBS. And she was able to recover within the following week. And I remember this was after my dad passed. I remember just feeling so bitter towards the fact that, you know, I hear about her fully recovering. Like, why was she able to recover, or why was he able to recover, but then my dad was not, you know? And that crossed a lot in my mind. I mean, like, even just a week ago, I was just like, you know, why? Like, why, God? Like, why did it have to be so bad? Like, why did he have to be like the rarest of the rare? And, you know, I don't know why it had to be so bad, or why it had to be so not normal, or why I'll never be able to say that, you know, I'll never be able to introduce my future children to my dad because he's not here anymore. Those type of questions, like, why? And, you know, like I said, I probably on this side of eternity will never know the answer to why. But I can say that it's because my dad's journey and my dad's serious illness and the journey that we went through, I was able to write this book. I was able to be able to relate to people who are going also through such difficult grief, to be able to just, like, I would never have been able to be relatable to anybody going through grief. Like, there were times I wish grief was not part of my story. I wish I didn't even have to say that word grief at such a young age. But, you know, it's actually, I can see the light to this all. I could see how now I'm able to kind of just look at, like, I even had someone reach out to me a few weeks ago saying, hey, I lost my mom. I read your book. It brings me hope to know that if you were able to go through that, or if your dad was able to survive 27 years, it gives me hope. And that to me right there is a New York's best time seller.
That's
just to hear people say that.
Very encouraging.
Like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. That's my job right there.
Right.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That is
exactly. So yeah.
So Hannah, I hope that, you know, your book is going to be very, very inspirational to many people. Unfortunately, I say many because there are so many people out there which are going through similar situations and just have to handle, you know, that grief in one way or another. So just having, you know, another person out there with,
Oh, did he freeze? Is my phone freezing?
and put it out there.
I think that's his.
You know, it's.
Oh, Eric, sorry. I think
You're
froze.
freezing a little.
Would say, you know, it's just another inspiration. It's okay. We have some backlogs. It's so the first.
All right. Yeah, it was kind of freezing a little bit. But yes, the inspiration that's going to come from your book, if you inspire, just like you said, just a few people, then your job is done. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
your job
think
is
from
done.
what I heard. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I think, Eric, yeah, it was a little glitchy, but I think I heard you say that a lot of people now are going through grief. And that was one thing also that I really wanted to enforce, that with this book, Never Goodbye, #GirlDad, our journeys or our pain or our grief may be completely different. Maybe you never had someone who was paralyzed, or maybe you didn't lose a dad, or maybe you were much older. But that's the thing I really talked about a lot in my book. Like, pain is pain. Like, it doesn't discriminate, no matter what age, no matter like what season you're in, it's pain at the end of the day. And grief is grief. And we're all in this together. And it's just allowing yourself and others who are feeling so lost and not knowing how to go through this hard season, especially now. I mean, 2020 and 2021 have been difficult years for a lot of people. And that word grief has just been kind of being thrown out everywhere. And it doesn't have to be losing somebody. It could be grief or loss of purpose in life, or it could be loss of identity, or just loss of self-worth. It could be any area where you can experience grief. And that's the thing I think a lot of people get kind of unaware of. Like, it doesn't mean you didn't lose somebody, we can't be relatable, or no, we all have special, unique journeys of grief. And just knowing that you're not alone is going to be the biggest game changer, I think, for people who are struggling with not knowing what to do. Yeah, so that's my hope in this book, really, is just, I really want people to know that they're not alone, and that, you know, there's still hope in your darkest days. And just coming together and just being that brother and sister in Christ to each other is really what I want people to know.
Right. And I also think it's, you know, I know when I did my book, a lot of my friends were saying, you know, the book inspired me. You know, it inspires anyone. This book can be an inspiration for anyone going through anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And like Liz, Liz is an inspiration herself, because the fact that you still continue to help others and to bring awareness and be an advocate for GBS and dedicate your time and your energy to helping other people, Liz. Like, you've inspired us as well. Like, there's no coincidence that we came across each other's path. Like, you are a warrior, you are a boss, and I love your dresses. But seriously, you are such an inspiration, honestly.
Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate that. I received that. Thank you.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's why I love us having this show, Liz.
Yeah, so do I.
Because, you know, even that there's all these misfortunes out there and the grief and everything, we seem to be always to be able to share a story which puts hope out there.
Right, exactly.
I love that, Eric. That's what you nailed it, Eric. You guys are storytellers, and like how that's what life is all about, Eric. You guys are doing such an amazing job by being storytellers. You're telling people stories. You're letting people know like they're not alone. Like it could be any type of story, but that's what life's about, is telling your personal story. So yeah, when Liz told me about your show, I was like, Eric and Liz, yes, anytime, any day, story tell all day. That's what life's about. Sharing your story, being vulnerable, being real, and just telling it how it is.
That's right. So our viewers, we want you guys to go out and purchase. It's on Amazon. Please give this beautiful young lady a review on Amazon. That'll be awesome. So, you know.
And I'm going to make sure that on our YouTube recording, you know, there's going to be all the information. You know, it always goes out on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So
Instagram.
You know, we just want to help put your story out there. I mean, it's yours and your family's story.
Right.
Yeah.
And your father, because he must have been an incredible person that even that under his physical condition, he was able to give love to his family, because if not, family wouldn't have given him that type of love back that you just showed us.
That's right, Eric.
Yeah, amen to that. That is, you would have loved him, Eric. He was one funny guy. Yeah, he had humor like nothing. And yeah, I thank my dad every day, because I mean, I learned the most important lessons in life through my dad, just being there, sacrificing himself, breathing through a trach. That to me will forever stick in my heart, because a man who loved his daughter and his family so much, to be there every day for them. And to the world, he was so physically disabled, but to us, he was the strongest man. And we were able to meet so many incredible families who didn't have people to be by their sides, take their final breaths. And it's because of my dad that we were able to stand by alongside these family members who had nobody. And that's the biggest blessing. And I'm so thankful that God created my dad the way he was. Because of that, I'm able to see that there is hope, and resilience and joy is so possible no matter what situation you're in. So thank you guys so much, Eric and Liz. This was like my first interview with the book.
All right. Wonderful. You were awesome.
Anna, thank you so much for being with you and you know, just sharing, you know, your story.
Absolutely. Yes. And you guys keep telling people stories. You guys are doing a great job.
We definitely will. And if you do a book signing here in San Diego, please let us know.
Oh yeah,
because I know that
Eric, are you in San Diego also?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because once the restrictions and everything kind of go down, Barnes and Noble will be having a book signing, so better be there.
Okay, which one?
Probably Carmel Mountain. That was my dad's favorite bookstore, and that's the books Barnes and Noble. It's right next to Jamba Juice, frozen yogurt. Yeah, so yeah, I love them. So yeah, it'll definitely be at that one. So keep you posted.
All right,
But that's
sounds good.
okay. And let us know. We are going to have our viewers know for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely will. For sure.
All right, wishing you the best.
Thank
Hey,
you,
you never
Hannah.
know. Number one,
You're so
never
You guys
know.
are so awesome. This was so much fun. I could talk hours for you guys. We could go on for hours.
Okay,
Thank you,
Hannah.
Eric. Thank you, Liz.
You're
You're welcome,
welcome. Take
Hannah.
care.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, well, that was very nice. And
All right,
well, we're
we
just
are.
going to wrap it up fast today.
Because we're
And
still live.
just,
All right.
yeah, and tell our viewers, hey, that's what we do. We tell stories. I think
Yeah,
she summed it up very nice.
she sure did. She sure did. Most certainly. We are storytellers.
Yeah. So to our viewers, happy Easter.
That's
Don't play
right.
too much with the bunny.
All
Okay, on
right.
that note, we just stop and see you next week.
All right. Oh, and don't forget to hit that little subscribe button. If just feel free to hit that little button.
Hey, very important. I finally figured it out.
All right.
And it wasn't that difficult. Oh, God.
It's
You
okay.
know, procrastination is one of the worst things in life. That's all I want
It
to say
is.
to our viewers that no, it's not the ability to intellectually understand what you have to do. It's just to do that little final step
Mm-hmm.
and inform yourself. So,
All
hey,
right.
we are human after all.
Yes, we are. We are. And we certainly enjoy doing our show together. I enjoy myself every Thursday.
Well, I enjoy yourself too.
All right. All right.
Okay,
So we have
guys.
some wonderful guests coming up soon. So you guys stay tuned and
Stay
we will be
tuned.
in touch.